Raise your hand if you have a question, and
Having
we'll call them
difficulty.
out. And all right, Charlie, whenever you want to kick us off.
All right, you got to control the cameras and everything like that?
Yep.
The people on my screen.
What's up, guys?
How's
right.
it going?
What's going on, everybody? Excited, bring you back another Combat FC
Yo.
press conference, second
Hello.
one. Very excited. Rick, Joe, I'm gonna call you guys in, introduce you guys. Say something to the fans real quick to start us off.
You want to go first, Joe?
No, after you.
All right, perfect. So, thanks for coming. It's going to be a really, really great card. We've got 3 awesome title fights. Couldn't be more excited about that. And on top of that, we've got some other really, really good fights. We got Nick Fiori stopping in to talk about his fight a little bit tonight. It was really cool to add him to the card. Still late in the game. It's we don't usually get a UFC vet fighting a 4-time jiu-jitsu black belt. I'm sorry, a 4th degree jiu-jitsu black belt. In the last 2 weeks, right? That's a fight that just came together last week. So really excited about this card. Should be a great time. And we've got some other exciting stuff coming up in terms of streams as well. So it's going to be fun. We also got a show on Nesson coming up next week, or this week. It's freaking fight week. Holy shit. So yeah, it's going to be a busy week, but all good stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. Throwing it over to Joe.
Hey guys, thanks again for showing up and showing out. We're expecting a big night. Ticket sales are through the roof, so it's going really, really well. We got some pretty cool stuff to announce. We need to work out the details so nobody freak out about it yet. But we are going to be live on UFC Fight Pass starting at 9 o'clock, and we also have a TV deal with a network called Swerve TV. So Swerve is on what they call FAST TV. It's the acronym FAST. It's free advertised supported television. So channels like Roku, Amazon, Google, Xmoo, Fubo, LG, Vizio, Sling, Pex, TiVo, and like 18 others. It goes to 80 million houses in the U.S. and Canada. So it's a really big deal as far as eyeballs, right? We're going to see a lot of people on this. And we have to figure out what exactly we're going to do. We're probably going to wind up doing the prelims on there. And we need to just sit down and kind of figure out the run of the fight. Like, Rick and I talk about, it's not just about, we need the in-venue experience for the fans. We need to be on time and have things just run the way that they're supposed to. Then we also need to be live on TV when we're supposed to be live on TV. And then the drop dead date, drop dead time is 9 o'clock on Fight Pass. We can't screw that up. So I know a lot of guys are going to hear this and they're going to want to know where they are on the card. We're not going to be announcing that until the day of, right? So we'll probably have a lot better feeling who makes weight, who shows up, what time, and all that stuff. But we're doing some big stuff, right? We're very, very grateful for the position we're in. And if you said, a year and a half ago, where would we be? This is right on track where we wanted to be. And we're going to be making some real big moves this year. We're going to be doing some partnerships that are going to really grow the business for everybody, for all of us, right? Because we're a team. Like, everybody that fights for us is part of our organization. We were really, really lucky that we got the first fight. We got anybody to fight, right? So we were reaching out to people, and a lot of you younger guys didn't know who me and Rick were. Even though we had done this 15 years ago, I was reaching out to some of you guys on social media and saying, hey, we're going to start this new brand, and we'd love to have you fight. And I wasn't getting many responses. And one of the things that Rick and I talked about was, how are we going to get to these guys? And I said, what we'll do is I would message everybody online. You guys probably got some of these messages. I said, hey, ask the oldest guy in your gym if they know who we are. And then what happened is we started getting responses, and we got a bunch of guys to fight for the first event. But we've got to a point now where we're really getting all the top guys in the Northeast, and you guys are part of that. And we're just really excited to be in the position that we're in. And I think we're going to have a real big year this year, and I'm excited to have you. And I appreciate you guys coming out. If it was just up to me and Rick, doing this, we didn't have the fights. We'd be standing in an empty arena. You guys deliver every time, and it makes a big difference. It makes a real big difference. So I appreciate it.
So, Joe, obviously you've been around the game for a very long time, a lot of years. What keeps you around? Why do you still do it?
I love the fights. I just, it's something that I had a passion for since I was young. You see fights like Max Holloway and Gaethje the other night, like Mickey Ward and Toro Gotti, right? And I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up everybody's ass, all the fighters. Like, it's a different breed of person, right? When the chips are down and most people give up, like, that's the most natural thing to do when your body's telling you this is it. You can't win. Like Mickey Ward when he fought at Toro Gotti, or Holyfield when he fought Riddick Bowe in that 9th round, and Holyfield got pummeled. He was literally being beat to death by a guy that was much bigger than Riddick Bowe. And I watched the show afterwards, and they were talking about, they were having Holyfield watch the fight back and talking about it as it happened. And I don't know if you guys remember that 9th round, but he got killed. I mean, it looked like a Rocky movie. He was getting beaten from pillar to post. And he said, they asked him, what were you thinking at that point? And he goes, I knew I had him right where I wanted him, and that's something special to fighters, right? Anybody else would have been like, that's it. There's nothing I can do. I've given it all I have. And Holyfield, after taking that beat, and said to himself, this is it. So I admire that stuff. I wish I was that guy. It's just, I don't get regular sports. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't watch anything. I don't think Rick watches anything. I did enough boxing.
I watch a shitload of sports.
Do you really?
Shitload.
Yeah. I don't watch anything. I don't watch anything enough. I did just enough training to understand how hard it is to do it. And then I don't know if I told you guys the story. I had a bet with Dana that I was 252, and he's on that keto diet, and everybody did it. He told me to give me 10 grand if I could make 208. And I had to cut weight. So it's the first time I've ever had to cut weight in my life. And, it gave me a completely different perspective on cutting weight. I was sitting on the edge of my bathtub after taking Epsom salt baths, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to fall on the floor and crack my head, and nobody's even going to be here to know. And so, that's one of the reasons I think you guys that aren't fighting for championship fights, one of the things that Rick and I talk about all the time is doing catch weight fights, right? So if it's not for a title and you guys are, roughly the same weight as your opponent, like, why cut if a guy's 35? Why cut to 35 when you could both go to 40 if you're in the same weight division? And a lot of guys on this call, that doesn't make any sense too, because you're fighting for belts. But our philosophy is you can save that stuff when you go to the UFC, and or for championship fights. And we're really excited about this card. It's going to be, it's going to be fun. We're glad to have all you guys here.
For sure. I mean, I'm fired up for it. A lot of bangers on this one. I mean, we're going to open up the presser, with John Douma and Ashiek Ajim. John, the champion, very excited to watch him fight. Combat FC, we had a couple of hurdles with him. John, talk to me about, the mental aspect of, going through supposed to fight, cancel fight, supposed to fight, cancel fight, that type of stuff.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good? All right. Yeah, it's been, I mean, you could say this has been like one long fight camp for me, just because that last one pulled through, and I really didn't take any time off in between. Just kind of went off of that fight camp. I knew I was gonna kind of fight sometime soon, and then just rolled right into this one. So it's been kind of a roller coaster, and feels like just a super long camp, but finally here, I'm ready to go.
For sure. Now, Ashiek, I'm gonna throw it over to you. How's your camp been, and what are you most looking forward to this matchup heading into the fight? I think he's muted.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Sir.
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm sorry about that. Can you repeat the question?
What about this matchup you're looking forward to most heading into the fight?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm going against a good opponent in John Douma. That's the most that's the thing I'm looking forward to most. I expected to fight him at some point, and I'm glad it's happening now for a belt and at a point where it's pretty important in both of our careers. So that's the most exciting thing for me.
For sure, real big event. I'm excited to see it. Andrew Mack, we're going to start with you. We're going to open up the questions. Andrew.
What's up? I'm going to start with Ashiek Ajim. So last time you fought in New England was about 2 years ago. What's the biggest change in you as a fighter since then?
Well, I've always been a pretty well-rounded fighter, just getting better in every aspect of the game. So I wouldn't say anything specifically, just everything overall.
And for Duma, how close do you think you are to a call from the UFC if you win this fight against Ajim?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm right there. It's, you win a title twice in a row, and on a UFC Fight Pass promotion, it's seems like that's kind of the ticket to getting in the UFC nowadays. So hopefully I'm right there.
Yeah, it'll be tough
Awesome.
to deny it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Andrew. We're going to swing things over to Evan Orty. Evan?
How's it going, guys? This is for John. So John, I just want to know, knowing how elite you are on the ground already, and it seems like your most recent fights have brought out more of your striking, which obviously culminated in the first round knockout, and now you're the champ. I was just wondering now that you have the title and that that target on your back, do you think maybe going forward it'll do more for you? Maybe you want to display a more well-rounded skill set over 5 rounds to dominate a fight, or do you think still going for quick, exciting finish is always the way to go?
Yeah, I mean, I only got that last fight was my quick, exciting finish, and that was like one in a row. I didn't even expect it. Pretty much every time I go in there, I expect an all-out war. So that's what I'm ready for. Yeah, I think you cut out.
No, yeah, I'm here. That was my
Oh, okay.
All good, Evan?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, John, I'll go back to you. You're the champ, obviously. Do you emulate your style around anybody? Any other champions and other promotions you watch, try to pick their brain a little bit, take something from their game?
Not so much anymore. I think when I was coming up, I was trying to do that a lot. Now I kind of found my own style and found, where I'm comfortable doing things and how I like to do stuff, and just kind of been working on that stuff with my coaches. Not really like trying to be like this guy or pick off something that guy did, just seeing stuff that works.
For sure. Ashiek, gonna throw the same question over to you. Any fighters you emulate, you study?
Yeah, probably the same answer for me, honestly. No one I emulate, but if someone's doing something that's working, then I'm gonna try to do that, but definitely when I was coming up, looking at like guys who had like good footwork, good striking and stuff like that, try to emulate those guys. If I had to pick somebody today, maybe somebody like Corey Sandhagen, like his style. But for the most part, try to be like creative in my own way and try to do whatever works.
For sure. Robert Cardillo, we're gonna go to you with questions.
So I have a quick question for John Douma, and you mentioned earlier how this has kind of been like one long camp for you, but obviously you've had two different opponents in that time. So I just wanted to ask you how Ashiek compares to your opponent from the last fight that fell through, and how like that's been able to impact this one long camp that you've had. Like how has that impacted it?
Um, I think those two camps were pretty similar. I was preparing for a heavy-handed striker. Um, that guy was a lefty, so he did a ton of lefty work. I got, a ton of looks with them, switched it up a bunch for this camp. But I think they translated well.
And a quick question for Ashiek, if I could. So after the Dana White's Contender Series, you actually, I saw on Tapology that you almost had like basically a year off in between fights.
Well, he froze mid-question.
Up to your last one. So I want to be able to help you for this fight.
Can you repeat that one more time? You kind of cut out in between.
Oh, sorry about that. You hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So you obviously, before your last fight, you basically had almost a year off. And in that time, I was just wondering if anything happened or if you were able to take anything away from that that's been able to help you in your last fight and then now this fight.
Yeah. Well, coming off a loss, it was a knockout loss. So I'm trying to be safe health-wise, trying to make sure I'm all good in the head. So trying to take that time off. I don't want to rush right back into another fight and end up getting caught. So So that was the main thing. But also it gave me a lot of time to work on skill and whatnot. Obviously, I'm always working on that in between fights anyway, but it just gave me a lot more time in between where I don't have to worry about a fight book and worry about a specific game plan or anything like that. So just building up the skill set in between that time.
Thank you, both you guys.
All right, New England MMA, some questions?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you, but
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
Yeah, show us your face, man.
Only 15. All right. My first question is for John Douma. Who are your biggest influences in the sport of MMA?
Probably my coaches. One of my boxing coaches is like 70 years old, and he wakes up at 4:30. He's got young adopted children. He works all day, comes out and trains us every day. Man, when I'm 70, I'd like to be like that. And then my head coach, Pete Jeffrey, he's just I say he's like my dad. He's just always been a big influence on my career. So definitely those two guys.
My second question is for Ashiek. We know you had a stint on the Contender Series. What was the experience like just to be around that?
It was a cool experience. Being a fan of fighting and the Contender Series, I kind of wanted to have the experience of actually fighting in it. And now that I've actually been there, like I don't really care so much to go back. If I just it's cool, if I do go back, that's cool.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. One more question from Cody Corletto. Cody?
Hi, this question's for the champ, John Douma. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, you're all good.
John, how was your training camp leading up to this fight, and do you feel fully prepared, both physically and mentally, against a tough opponent in Ashiek Ajim?
Yeah, like I said before, it's been good. It's been long. Just not, only on this camp alone, it's been, we had like 10 weeks to prepare. So, feeling good. Definitely, as always, like this is my job. So you got to come to work prepared. And I never would if I didn't feel prepared. So here we are. I feel good about it.
Awesome. And my second question is for the challenger, Ashiek. Ashiek, obviously you don't want to give away too much, but assuming you've watched some tape on your opponent, have you had to make any adjustments in your training or game plan specifically for John? He's a very dangerous opponent coming off a big win, and you're challenging for a title on a big slot on a 20-fight card.
No, I just fight like I fight, but I did going forward. I did want to like showcase my wrestling a little bit more, just because a lot of people have seen my striking and whatnot. But the thing is, I'm was a two-time national champ in high school. And I don't think people know that about me. But fight usually starts on the feet and it ends up kind of staying there throughout the fight. But back in my amateur fights, I've used to wrestle a little bit more, so I'm looking to push that a bit. But honestly, Duma's a pretty good grappler too, so we'll see where that goes. And I did recently get my black belt in jiu-jitsu, so maybe we can see how the grappling plays out between the two of us.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Rick's got a question. Rick, what do you got?
Yeah, I just got a quick one. So, any difference in the mentality this time? This is for Duma. I know last time you kind of had a chip on your shoulder because you were fighting, the guy who was, a lot of the people were kind of hyping up as the next big thing. And I think, you felt a little overlooked on that one, whether or not it was actually happening or not. You kind of had that chip on your shoulder that, all right, I'm going to go prove these assholes wrong. This is I'm the fucking guy, right? Like you could just see it. You could hear it in some of the conversation beforehand. Any change in mentality on this one where you're the guy that people are chasing instead of the guy trying to prove everyone wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of feel accomplished. You always look to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I still feel like I have a lot to prove. Still kind of got a chip on my shoulder. I don't know why. I just do. But But yeah, that's I think it's gonna be the same mentality for me all throughout my career.
Awesome. Yeah, that's all I had.
Cool.
All right, so that wraps it up for the media. The champ, the challenger. I'll leave you both with just one last question. Parting words for your opponent. What do you have? John, I'll start with you.
Just make weight, man. Last guy didn't make weight, so please just make weight. That's it.
Ashiek?
No, we're good on that. I've never missed weight, so we'll be good
Word,
there.
perfect.
It'll
Good,
be a
good.
good fight. I'll see you Thursday. See you.
All right, man. Sounds good. I'll see you then.
All right, man. Respect through battle. Respect these guys. Going to be one hell of a fight. The champ, John Douma, going against Ashiek Ajim. Combat FC. Very excited. Swinging things over now to Nick Fiori. Nick, welcome to the presser.
Thanks for having me.
Nick,
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. Obviously you were a bit of a late addition here. We found out you were coming on the presser, less than an hour ago. Thank you for coming first and foremost. Nick, 7-2. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your game for those who don't know you.
Pretty grappling, wrestling heavy for most of my fights. Jiu-jitsu black belt. I competed in jiu-jitsu for a long time and was kind of doing MMA and jiu-jitsu together. So a few years ago I decided to make a full transition to MMA.
So, you talk jiu-jitsu. Do you watch jiu-jitsu still, or do you just watch MMA now that you're into the full transition?
Here and there. A lot of time I'll watch stuff kind of after it happens.
Yeah.
But I'm not like super current with most things.
For sure. And 7-2, a lot of experience, dating back aside from the jiu-jitsu, a lot of MMA experience. What are you looking to improve on head into your next fight?
Definitely just kind of letting my hands go more, and I put a lot of work this camp into the psychological aspect of competing, and just really working on really tapping in and just enjoying the process, enjoying the training, enjoying the fight, and yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah. So you talk psychological, competed in jiu-jitsu, competed in mixed martial arts. Talk to me. What's the difference mentally in preparing? Heading into that, making that walk. What's the difference, as you're, stepping in there to go fight?
I feel like just the an MMA fight is definitely more risky because there's striking involved. I feel like competing in anything though, especially combat sports, it's a pretty similar mentality going into it.
For sure.
It definitely just knocks it up a few notches with the rule set of MMA.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to open things up here to the media. We're going to start with Andrew Mack. Andrew, first question.
Hey, Nick. So we had your teammates Chris Mutino and Tom Pags win a couple of days ago at Combat Zone. How's your training at Cartel that's letting you guys have this much success?
It's just a good amount of experience in the room. Everyone's kind of assembled together over the last couple of years, so we've got a good amount of mat time together as a good high level group. And yeah, man, everybody's just gaining more experience every single time we fight. Everyone bands together and helps those guys out, and then they get that much better to push you for the next camp. So it's a pretty good ecosystem we got going. No one's a dick or anything like that. Everybody's just pushing each other, trying to keep each other safe, and making sure we're able to get to the fight without injuries or, as minimal as we can get. And, yeah, while still pushing each other and we're always bouncing off, information off of each other. And yeah, it's a good crew we got.
And then you guys got a bigger gym, I think maybe a year ago or so. How's that bigger gym been? Of course, you have more space, but almost like mentally for your training.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely better than the really small spot we were at before. and we're able to bring in more people. Zach, the owner of where we're training at, Prophecy Wrestling, he'll step in every now and again and give us some more wrestling techniques and things like that, pick his brain a little bit. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like 10 times as much space. So we're all happy about it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I'm going to send it over to Robert Cardillo. Robert.
Hey, so I just have a question relating to your high-level experience, whether it be in the gym or even the guys that you happen to fight in the UFC, like Chase Hooper and Rebecca. How does having that high-level experience, whether it be around you or in competition, what does that do for your confidence leading into a fight like this at Combat FC?
I feel like I got a lot from those fights, even though it wasn't my night, wasn't able to get the win on those two particular nights. But I feel like I got so much out of those. High level experience fighting really good guys. I feel like it really showed me that with just some minor adjustments, I really do feel like I'm like right there, and it feels good. It feels good to go toe to toe with some badass opponents and have all that ring time from that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, nice.
All right, Nick, I got one for you here. So obviously, you fought across the Boston and the Massachusetts scene. If you had a dream spot to fight, dream opponent, dream location, where would you fight?
That's a tough one. I like as far as location, it's always cool to be in front of the home crowd. Somewhere in Boston would be pretty sweet, actually. I don't really have a dream opponent, not yet at this point, where I'm at least. I'll just fight whoever makes sense.
All right, that makes fair. That's fair. Can't really debate that. Let's send things over to Cody Corletto. Cody.
Hey, Nick. You've had a couple of competitive fights in the UFC, unfortunately, on the wrong end of some decisions, but you fought two really tough guys at the highest level. Do you ultimately want to get back there, specifically to the UFC, or even some of these emerging promotions like the PFL Bellator crossover, or even like one championship?
Yeah, the UFC is always going to be the top of the list. If we got the call for any of those other promotions, I would definitely strongly consider it. But at the end of the day, yeah, we're trying to get back to the UFC, and yeah, that's pretty much our main mission.
Got it. Thank you, and good luck.
Nice.
All right, calling in our very own producer, Harry Mack. Harry.
Hey, Nick, how are you? Appreciate the time.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
So, kind of building off that last question, obviously the goal is to get back to the UFC. How far away do you feel you are from that? Like, do you feel like a win here sets you up for that? Do you feel like maybe one or two wins, maybe a big finish? Where do you feel you are in terms of that process?
Yeah, I feel like right now I just for my own sake, I really want to just keep getting the ring time, fighting good guys. I feel like within like a few fights, but I'm not really in like a huge rush. I don't think it would be right after this one. Maybe within the next, 3. I feel like that would be good. Get some good ring time and some more experience, because I feel like that is just so important at that level from those experiences. Having that pre-existing experience really helps. And I've already felt that in a bunch of my fights. That previous experience from fights before that, helps you a lot. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Just stay true to the course. Keep winning fights, keep getting that ring time, and we'll get back there when it makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, and best of skill this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
New England MMA news?
Nick, what has been the toughest fight of your career, and what did you learn from it?
I mean, definitely the two in the UFC were big. I feel like just learning to kind of be present, a lot of the mental skills that you learn from just ring time and competing a lot, things like that. It really emphasized those for me. Obviously, they're going to be important, but you know, you get a deeper understanding of those things when you're actually in those situations. So yeah, just getting ring time, figuring out exactly, you know, how much and when to, you know, push the pace. Most of my other fights, even amateur, before that, I had some relatively quick finishes. So it was cool to just be in the ring at that level, you know, for the entire duration of the fight. So, but yeah, man, we'll get back there and be that much better for it.
All right, thank you.
All right, paging Mr. President. Joe Cavallaro has his hand up. Joe, what do you have?
Took me a while to figure out how to do that. I'm new to this whole thing. So I was searching around there for a while, trying to figure out how to raise that hand. So Nick, you're brand new to the promotion. We're excited to have you. You know, I've been following your career, and you've done a great job. All you guys are kicking ass, and you got a great team. But you took this fight pretty much on last minute here. What do you know about your opponent? And you know, what do we expect? Are we expecting a grappling match, or are you gonna try to keep this guy standing? I mean, I don't want you to give away too many of your secrets, but what do you know about him? And you know, how do you feel about the fight? You know, taking it last minute like this.
Yeah, I feel like you know, I'm always training hard. The whole room is, you know, when we're in camp versus out of camp, there's not a whole lot of difference. So, you know, we're always feeling pretty ready. I was hoping to get on this card or Combat Zone in the last few weeks. I was hoping, you know, one of these promotions would find me an opponent. So I was really happy when we got the call from you guys. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about my opponent. I know he's got a good amount of fights coming from Brazil, and he's got a good amount of boxing fights as well. So I anticipate, you know, he's probably going to come forward, heavy shots, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. You know, I feel good standing. I feel good, you know, in grappling, especially with that being my you know, strongest and you know, probably the most time in that discipline. So yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see. I try to somewhat have a game plan, but I feel like most of the time in fighting, you end up just seeing what's available. Yeah.
Yeah, Cal had a great show. I saw the highlights of that show. That new arena they're in is unbelievable. It looks great. It looks like a small UFC. I'm psyched.
Yeah, it's good production. You know, they do a good job over there. So
yeah, they're good guys. I don't go to a lot of shows locally, but I like to go to Calvin's. He's close, and he's always got good fights. You know, they're always fun. But
yeah,
you know what? I'm pretty excited for your fight. I can't wait to see what you do. You know, I know the team that you guys have is tremendous. You know, you have so many well-rounded guys, and to get that level of sparring, you know, I tell, you know, young people, I've been saying it all my life, because I had a management company for a bunch of years also, and I used to tell people, you know, the guys I worked with, I'm like, you got to go out and get different looks. You need guys that are better than you. You don't want to be the top guy in your gym, because you never get better. You know, it's there's a saying in boxing, they say, you know, what happens is you kind of, when you spar with the same people all the time, you make these silent agreements. Like, you don't say anything out loud, but like, if you know this guy can do this to you, like at some point, it doesn't make any sense to keep doing it to him, right? You're just beating him up. So you stop doing that. And then you know, it just doesn't work when you go into a gym with a bunch of killers every day and you're fighting for your life. You know, yeah, and that's that gym. That's an incredible gym. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you. Okay, I'll see you over on Thursday.
All right, sounds good.
All right, last question from the media. Evan Ortiz. Evan, what do you got?
Hey Nick, so if you win this weekend, do you think maybe you'd want to stick around and try to win the lightweight title for Combat FC? Is something like winning as many belts as possible on your way back to UFC something you'd want to try to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to that, you know. I feel like the regional belts are cool. It's like a definitely a nice selling point to get to the bigger shows and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely something I would be interested in pursuing. So
Thank you.
All right, Nick, I'll leave you with one last question. 12 months from now, where do you see yourself? Where's Nick Fiori in a year?
in a year, gee, I mean, probably doing a lot of the same stuff I'm doing now, hopefully with some just more experience. And we'll see where we're at as far as fights. It could be back in the UFC, it could be on the cusp a year from now. But one step at a time. We'll see. All my focus is on just what's right in front of me right now.
All right. I respect that, man. Best of luck this weekend, and best of luck with your career. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you hopping on the presser, especially last minute. Now we're gonna throw things over to Captain Rogers. Him and Damion Nelson duking it out for the vacant featherweight title, Combat FC. Damion, you guys here?
Yep, I'm here. You hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Gerry Meuse.
Damian, you're upside
I'm
down.
here. Oh, I'm upside down. There we go. My camera's acting up. How about now?
Very upside down. I'm cool with it. I mean, I'm not hating. All right, Gerry, I'll start with you while he's figuring out his camera. Obviously, we go by Captain America first and foremost. Thank you for your service. What does this country mean to you? And why the Captain America nickname?
Oh yeah, so I guess the Captain America nickname kind of started up from the army, and I kind of adopted it into the MMA thing because, funny enough, last year my first fight I did for Cage Titans. I did it for like a military charity because I was in the honor guard, which is like the military ceremonial team. And I kind of just did the fight for fun, for charity. And I did like the Captain America thing. And I even told him, I was like, oh, we could do a color guard during the national anthem. My dress uniform with my my guys, and we did like the color guard. And people were like, aren't you fighting tonight? And I was like, yeah, I'm about to go change. And they're like, what the heck? So I go backstage and I change out and warm up and then go out there and fight. I twisted the guy and I ended up on ESPN and MMA, and they were like, oh, you should fight again. So I fought again, and here we are a year later.
Yeah, I gotta say, you do a hell of a job promoting yourself. Not many regional MMA fighters do as well of a job promoting themselves as Gerry Meuse does. I gotta give you flowers there. You always get a chuckle or two out of me on Instagram throughout the week.
Yeah. It's funny because it's a lot of people like, oh, I love your gimmick, like the Captain America and you joking around. But like that's not even the gimmick. The gimmick is like that's actually me. The gimmick is that I fight MMA and I keep winning.
I mean I really don't know how to respond to that. That's just awesome. I mean, Damian, I'm going to send things over to you. Obviously, coming from New York last time, shocked, the building. I personally wasn't too shocked. I'm not going to say I was shocked, but I mean, you shocked the building. The place was silent for a second. What are you looking to, bring back this time around?
Just more of the same thing, man. Just more, killer pressure and just, coming to enjoy myself, of course, but to put on a performance.
Do you sort of enjoy coming into enemy territory? Doing this again, same type of scene here.
I honestly, I most of my fights are
within enemy's territory, as you say.
Yeah.
I probably fought since I went pro. I fought in New York once. All my fights are to Pennsylvania, Jersey, Connecticut. Now up in New England area. So yeah, it's something that I'm used to. Now it's just whatever for me right now, honestly. I enjoy the sport. I love to fight. So I always come to put on a performance, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, and you train with, one hell of a team. Which of your sparring partners, motivate you the most and, get you the most prepared for your bouts?
Steve Lee. Steve Lee, he's like the manager at the gym, but he definitely knows how to get me going as far as fighting is concerned. Pause. No diddy. But Steve Lee is a man. He's the one who get me pumped, motivated, and ready to go.
All right, the first no diddy in Combat FC history. Awarded to Damion Nelson. We're getting some personality here tonight. So, Gerry, gonna roll it back to you. As far as your sparring partners, who's your your toughest go? Who pushed you the hardest?
Oh, I mean, if you remember with this fight, we had Sean Lally on it. So a lot of early in the fight, I was training with Sean Lally. And he's, veteran guy himself, Ranger bad guy. And he's a big guy too. He's fighting at 85, but he's naturally a 170 pounder. You guys get to see that fight in September. But yeah, I'd say he's a good one to train with because he's got that military background. He also is very different style than me. He's very he brings the intensity, and he's like a no hold back kind of guy. He just sends it all in there.
Oh, for sure. So we're gonna open questions up to the media now. We're gonna go with Andrew Mack first. Andrew,
what's up? Starting with Gerry. So you were supposed to fight Damian a couple months ago. That fight fell through, and you were able to watch that fight. Is there anything from that fight that surprised you watching it?
Watching that fight, I feel like did give me some insight on it. Because I got to watch him fight as if he had prepared to fight me. One thing me and Spider-Man were talking about is that I think that, maybe Don Shainis' team was maybe looking past Nelson a little bit because at the time he was 4-4. But we had actually thought that for Nelson to change opponents last minute, it was less of a change up for him to go from me to Shainis. Because he's like, all right, I'm going to be facing a guy that wants to grapple me, and that's his key to victory. And my strength is going to be the striking. Whereas Nelson is now changing from Gareem for Shainis was changing from Nelson to Gareem. So it's very different style. Whereas, Nelson brought the striking and the quickness, whereas Gareem was pretty well rounded. And so it was a much harder switch for Nelson for Shainis than it was for Nelson. Nelson he was kind of, if he had prepared for some takedown defense and to impose the striking, would be able to bring the same key to victory on Shainis as he would for me.
Going to Damian. So we know Gerry loves to dance during his walkouts. What are we going to see during your walkout?
Hey, I'm not as a character as Meuse. He always come out, he's the showman. He definitely put on a performance for the show before the fight even starts. But that's his thing. I'm not necessarily much of a dancer outside the ring. All my dances is inside.
And as Gerry said, a lot of people are looking past you when you were fighting Shainis. How did it feel to just shut all those people up?
I mean, it feels good, man. It feels very good. I feel like that's a accurate reading Gerry gave. Don Shainis was he is a former UFC fighter. He's been to the biggest stage, and he's back on the regional scene. So they're probably looking like, you know, he's seen the best there is out there. So coming back down, you know, it might be an easier run for him. But you know, I was well prepared, man. I trained with a lot of good guys, and I got a lot of coaches that's given me proper advice. We went in there, we went in a battle with a solid plan, and we're prepared, and we took it home.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, so I gotta butt in here. You know, there's a huge misconception that, you know, before a fight you gotta hate your opponent. It almost seems, Damian, that, you know, you find Gerry's antics pretty funny, and like you almost enjoy the entertainment aspect of it.
I mean, to hate, I don't hate opponents. Honestly, I don't like. It's a job. I look at it like, yeah, I'm just doing my job. You know, I don't hate none of my opponents. But personally, maybe one opponent I did hate a little bit, but we're cool. But personally, you know, he has never offended me. So you know, it is what it is, man. We fight for a reason. And it's just another obstacle in the way. That's the way I look at it, and I'm just doing my job. You know, no hard feelings at the end of the day.
For sure. And, you know, back to the media, we're going to go to producer Harry Mack, who I believe, Damian, you know pretty well.
Yes.
Damian, my friend, always good to see you here. So I'll start with a question for you. You know, you've been in big fights before. You fought at PFL, you fought at Madison Square Garden, you knocked out a UFC veteran in your last fight. So how has the preparation been any different going into a 5-round championship fight for you?
Yeah, we tweak some things a little bit. As you said, it's a 5-rounder. So now we're we're conditioned for that, you know. So definitely worked on the cardio. So we can go 5 rounds. You know, we're prepared for a war if necessary, you know, but we're always going in there, you know, ready and prepared and willing to fight, you know. So we changed some things around, you know, but I'm not gonna give too much away. It's gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be an excited fight. Gerry is gonna try to impose his style, and you know, and likewise, I'm gonna try and project my style in there.
Absolutely, can't wait. And for Gerry, so this is going to be your first professional fight at 145 pounds. So I just wanted to know how's the weight cut going? How's your body felt any differently? Do you feel like that's going to impact your game at all?
Yeah, you know, that's a good point you bring up, because this is the first time I'm fighting at 145. And yeah, I mean, I guess the weight cut is going, to be honest. So this weekend I did like a shooting competition, and as you know, it was raining in New England, so I was like freezing my ass off. But like when I put on my like gun belt, my uniform and stuff, it like literally didn't even fit. That's how much weight I've lost. Like I had to wear a belt over my pants, then put my gun belt through, and then put like the Velcro over that for it to make it fill. I had to cinch it down all the way. So I mean, like I see the number on the scale, but I'm still like, all right, I got to be 145 on Wednesday. But I've lost considerable weight, and I definitely look different than I have in the past. I've never really been like a big weight cutter. Like at my last fight at Combat FC, I fought at 170, and now I'm fighting at 145. But the last one, I kind of just walked in there and weighed in with my pants on, and I was 169, and fought Paul Teague. And you know, I do cut a little bit of weight to make 55, but the week of the fight, I'm eating like chocolate and stuff, and I just sweat it out. This one, I dieted for weeks. As far as affecting my performance, I strongly suspect it will, like, it kind of put me in a better shape because I had to train harder and like kind of look at my diet specifically for a certain amount of time to get like a lean enough physique to where I can kind of taper off the week of and be on weight. And yeah, so I think it'll help me if anything.
Got it. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Best of skill this weekend. I got one last quick question. Damian, is there any chance that we see a Captain Jamaica walk out?
Nah, I highly doubt it.
Let's go, Captain Jamaica.
Nah, I don't think we're gonna see that. We all got our own thing. And I locked in different from the way how Meuse locked in. That probably is what helped him to deal with the whole idea of getting in a fight or going in a fist fight. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to go in a cage and fight some dude that's been training for however long. So probably that's how he deal with the jitters. I have my way, but that's not one of them.
Got it. Well, thank you both very much. Very much looking forward to the fight. Best of skill to both of you.
Thank you.
All right, Cody Corletto, you have the floor.
Hi. So this question is for Gerry Meuse. Gerry, you're undefeated as a pro. You took a 5-year break, 4-year break from 2018 to 2023, somewhere in that time period. You came back to the sport in a big way by winning 5 straight fights in 2023, all by finish. What do you attribute this activity to, and how do you leverage this momentum and success in your upcoming bout against Damion Nelson on the 24th?
Oh, so yeah. Here's how I'd explain that, right? I had that one fight in 2018. After that, I went into the army, and I kind of stopped fighting. Kind of was like, took a break from MMA just because I remember like one day I was like up early in the morning and I was like wrestling and just doing some sparring, and then like later in the day I went to like the machine gun range and we were just like da 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 da, and like the concussive from like the machine gun shooting for hours with like your like Kevlar on. I was just like, my head was hurting after it. I was like, man, if you try to do both of these, you're not gonna live long. Like, so I kind of like chose to stick with one, but I still always trained like martial arts. And so I still always have been training, right? I just haven't been fighting the whole time. And then like they offer that fight for charity in 2023. So I kind of did it for fun. And yeah, I did have 5 fights and 5 wins and 5 finishes in that 1-year span. But I'm also very aware that Nelson has fought tougher competition than me, and he also has more experience than me. He has a few losses that were very, very close to being a win on his record, so he could easily be like 8-2. And so I think I was able to climb the ranks quicker based on my experience, because I mean martial arts is a lot of a game of skill. I mean, obviously it does take athleticism. That's why like Dana White always says it's a young man's sport. But I would say the more you know, the more you win, right? And because I kind of am at that point where I have like 15 years of training behind me, but only 6 fights. So that's why I was able to kind of climb through the ranks quickly, because it was, beginning level regional competitors. But I also will say, I think it will be difficult to leverage that momentum against Nelson, because he was on a 3-fight losing streak. Granted, a lot of those fights were his last 3 were pretty close, but then he comes into enemy territory and he beats a guy that a lot of people thought had a big advantage over him. So he has his own momentum, in his own corner. So it'll be, I think that brings for a really good fight, because it's like 2 guys with serious momentum behind them.
Thanks, Gerry. This question's for.
Oh, shout out to Ava. I see she's in the chat. What's up,
Ava? How we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Anything you want to add, Ava?
Captain America, I'm excited to dance with you at the fight on Friday night.
Me too. I can't wait.
Same.
I hope you've been practicing. That's pretty much all
I
I've got time
haven't.
for.
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'll see you Thursday then.
Yeah.
We can get a little practice in on Thursday night.
Captain America, I'm gonna be busy because I have a meet and greet on Thursday at Shriners Auditorium from 4 to 6. Yeah.
4 to 6. Man, so you're more popular than the fighters, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you at some point.
Thank you, Ava. Joe, calling you in for a question. I think Joe's muted.
Joe's like me. He's like, this thing runs on electricity somehow, right?
I mean, Joe is muted. I don't think he knows how to unmute himself. I'm gonna send things over to Evan Ortiz for the interim.
Hey guys, so one for Gerry and one for Damian. I'll start with Gerry. So Gerry, you mentioned in a post press conference that you consider yourself even more of an entertainer than a fighter. So from the walkout to the in the fight itself when you're in the cage. So I was wondering if going forward, if either outside of the cage or inside, if you had any more moves that people have rarely seen, because you already got the 2 twisters, for instance. If you had anything else up your sleeve that people have rarely or never seen before?
Man, I got like so many tricks up my sleeves. It's hard to talk about because I kind of have a taste for like the flashy stuff, right? I mean, because you're right. I do kind of come in there to entertain because I know a lot of people talk about like fight camps and getting into camp mode and getting ready to fight and go into battle. But for me, I feel like I've done all of that. Like I almost like try to get away from it in a way to where for me, like I do the dance because like I'm trying to turn it off. And sometimes I can't. Whereas some people, they like try to turn it on before they go into fight and they try to become in like serious mode. But for me, in a way, I'm almost like, man, I feel like I can't turn it off. And so that's why I try to alleviate it with like the dancing and like take it lightly. And I do like to engage in the crowd and talk to the fans and make it a good time for everybody. Because at the end of the day, I don't go in there and fight Damion Nelson or whoever it is. I kind of go in there and fight Gerry Meuse from the last fight. And it's like, am I better than Gerry Meuse from the last fight? Like, can I do better than I did before? And as long as I can answer yes to that question, it's, I know I did the right thing. Confidence comes from, repetition and preparation. And when you do everything that you're supposed to do and you get the right reps, that's when you can walk into the fight and, roll under the guy and get his leg and tickle his foot and he taps. You just got to do it alive. Because I'm telling you, like 12 months ago, I sucked at that Aminari roll. But then like a year later, I pulled it off in a fight.
Awesome. Oh, and then one for Damian. So me and my Rob, my partner is here. We got to go watch Aljamain Sterling train for a title fight at Outlaw MMA, and I just wanted to know, like, how much do you think your style, emulates Aljo or really any of your training partners when you're in there, do you think?
Nah, I don't. We all got our own style. Aljo is a strong wrestler background. That I'm not a wrestler background. I'm more so of a striker, but we feed off of each other. I don't think I emulate his style, but some of the ideas that he shows my way or introduced to me, I definitely adapt and I try to gel everything together. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like a killer wrestler, but I think that my wrestling has definitely improved like over the last year.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. It seems that Joe is finally unmuted. Joe, sending it over to you.
Takes me a couple of minutes, guys. It's not as easy as it looks, right? Being old and you know, I still have a Dell. I still have a Dell computer, so you guys got to kind of bear with me. And I'm on an Android, so guys, a big fan of both of you. I'm really excited about this fight, Damian. That last performance was amazing. I was very, very impressed. You know, when you took that fight on last minute, also, you know, with the big change. And I know, Captain America stepped aside for you for that thing, and he said, I just want to fight the winner. I want to fight for a title, and I want to fight the winner. So that was an unbelievable showcase. And I thought personally that at any minute you could have taken that, you could have won that fight if you had just stepped on the gas. It was like you had him hurt a bunch of times, and then you kind of stopped a little bit. And I was like, wow, was it a respect thing, or what was that? Because it looked like if you had thrown 2 or 3 more punches, you would have had him out of there.
See, the thing is, no, it's not even a respect thing. It was just like, I was just in my zone, I guess, and
I guess you were, yeah,
fun there, and I was just controlling what was going on. So it's like, there is no rush, but there's always a rush because you don't want to waste time, and the fight it can flip on a dime. You know what I'm saying? One punch can change the entire scenario of what's going on. But I wanted to put on a good performance. It's like I coming off of back-to-back lessons, because I don't call them losses. I learned so much from those fights. So coming off of back-to-back L's, it's like, okay, I don't want this. Oh, he just caught him. It could have went anyway, but Damian just caught him. He Shayna zig when he was supposed to zag, and Damian got lucky. I didn't want that stigma to be, floating around after the fight. Oh, he just caught him. I wanted to show and prove that, like, it's not by luck or chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you made an amazing statement, because he's a tough kid. He's got a lot of experience. He's a tremendous wrestler. He's a real good grappler. I was very, very impressed. I was excited to have you back. And Captain America, what do you think? Is this a striker versus grappler, or am I reading this wrong, or are we going to see something else? What are you thinking? I think we got you muted.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess that would be an accurate depiction. Were you asking me, Joe, or Nelson?
Yeah, I was asking you. Do you see it going any other way, or do you is this just a straight grappling versus striker?
Yeah, well, all my fights, I've kind of just try to wrestle the guy and I get him down and grapple him.
Yeah,
because that's a lot of my training. Yeah, Spider-Man wanted to drop in.
Spider-Man's in. It's great because
I'm like,
you guys are from 2 great teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys are both represented very, very well. With Damian's team, the guys that he's training with the grappling that they have over there. He said he learned a lot in the last year. I can only imagine how much he's learned in the last year being a part of that team. You know what I mean? Those guys are, and then with you being at Del Gradi's with all the Thai boxing and all the guys that are striking over there, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this fight. I think it's one of the top fights on the card as far as really wondering what's going to happen, right? Because I can see it going 2 ways distinctly, right? Or it's always when I say I think I know what's going to happen that nothing that I thought was going to happen happens. So I'm really excited.
That would be the key to victory, right? Is to try to do something that your opponent is not expecting, right? Because when you like in warfare, like when you study your opponent, if you learn their tactics, right, you want to study their every move before you make a move of your own. And the longer you have to prepare for that, the more you can prepare your own self to counter their style. But based on our previous fights, his strength would be striking, and my strength definitely would be the grappling. Another interesting factor, though, is that I was out wrestling everybody at 170 and 155, and now I'm going to 45. So, now I'll be, at a new weight class, and that's a whole new factor. But granted, the lighter you go, the quicker they get too.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Rick said that you have a plan. We were talking about it. Rick said Gerry's got a plan. He already knows what he's going to do, and he's already looked at all the things that he thinks are weaknesses, and he's got it all in his head right now. It's not like he's going to go out there and try to figure it out as he goes. He's already got the whole thing mapped out. So we're excited to see what both of you have, and I appreciate you both being here.
Yeah, I am very analytical. I do a lot of I'm big into the numbers, right? Like part of other sports, and it's not as in-depthly used in MMA. Now, granted, analytics plays a bigger role, like the more fights each fighter has, because you can look at like the stats. Because with like AI and everything, it figures out everything through an algorithm, and you can calculate your own like algorithms based on like their own stats, right? Like that's why they have weight classes, because physics, like the bigger the person is, if the skill is the same, the bigger person has significant advantage. Like if me or Nelson went up against Nagano, like the odds would not be in our favor because he's like 100 pounds heavier than us. Even if like our skills were like on par with Nagano's, but because it's physics, his strength and size, it wouldn't give us very good odds. It's amazing what even before computers, what humans have calculated. Like, because even the planets in the solar system, they use like Newton's laws to find out where all those planets are, even before we had like telescopes based on like the gravitational pull on where another planet would be, and then they discover another planet. And the same thing applies to so many things in life, and it applies to fighting as well. Like the older someone gets, the less like chance they have of winning. Like there's a certain reach that, like if a person has a certain longer reach, it gives them an advantage based on a certain style. Because typically if you have a long reach, it gives you advantage in the striking, but sometimes can make you a little bit more offensive in the grappling, but it can also make it easier for you to get people's necks, get people's legs, get people's arms, because their limbs are longer. Whereas like if you ever get a guy like Shainis, he's got shorter limbs and a thick neck, guy's hard to submit because it's hard to get a hold of his limbs.
Like submit the block, right?
And even in the military, Rick was talking about how I have a plan for everything. And in the military, you go off what's called a PACE plan, the PACE. It's called a primary, an alternate, and you have a contingency and an emergency plan. And what that does is it allows you to think quicker when you're under pressure, right? When those hands start flying and you start getting hit and you're in an ugly spot and you're like, okay, my primary and alternate are out the window. I got to go to my contingency plan. And you just snap into action. Because very rarely do you just rise to the occasion. Typically, you fall to the level of your training. Yeah. And that's why I brought up before when another person asked the question, the more you know, the more you win.
Yeah. Great. Looking forward to it, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Sending things over to Dylan Napoleon. Dylan.
Guys, what's going on? Thank you for the time. I unfortunately don't have a camera to work with right now, but like you guys were just talking about, we do have, a stylistic matchup where we see a grappler versus a striker. So I want to ask both of you, Gerry, you're obviously the grappler. How do you see Damian's grappling stacking up to yours? And for Damian, how do you see Gerry's striking matching up to your striking?
You want me to answer it first?
Sure.
All right. So I feel like Damian has very good he has very good takedown defense, and he's a pretty athletic dude. But I did notice in the Shainis fight, he was willing to engage in the grappling, so that tells me he's fairly confident in his own grappling. But I've watched a few of his fights, and you don't see too much of grappling in any of his fights. So it kind of makes me think it's going to turn into a striking match to some degree. But I'm also pretty good in the tie-up, and a lot of people have said that I'm pretty big for 145. So that, that'll play a factor too. But I like you said, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with calculations, and I think that's why jiu-jitsu works for me so well. Is because there's like so many pieces to the puzzle, and it's like, some people can look at it and just see it, and they put it together.
Can you repeat the question for me?
Yeah, of course. So I just asked you guys, classic grappler versus striker matchup here. How do you feel that that Gerry's striking matches up to your striking?
I feel like Gerry's gonna come out and do what he does. He's gonna try and grapple. If he tried to strike with me, then I definitely would entertain it. I wouldn't mind at all. But we all know like what style our opponents are. So he's expecting me to strike. I'm expecting him to grapple. But as I said, I've been working on my grappling a lot over the last year. I always have been working on grappling and stuff like that. Mainly defensive grappling or such. But I have changed the game a little bit. I want to be the one to also take down and submit people. So I definitely have touched that a lot. That has been one of my biggest focus over the past year. And I might throw a curveball in there. He's expecting a striking. Maybe I might change it up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, because I think I can grapple. So it's just the fight. There's no set plan going into the fight. It's just wherever it takes you. You have a game plan, yes, but when you get in there, you just flow with the punches and move accordingly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think we're in for a fun one, like you guys have been discussing here. But one more question that if I could ask to the both of you guys again, if I'm not mistaken, it's both of your first attempts at world titles here. And obviously both of you are pretty established as fighters. Where do have you treated this camp any differently? Has this camp felt any differently going into your first attempts at world titles here?
Definitely. It feels different. I guess you can call it just the pressure of, this is for a title, this is for a belt. You're doing 5 rounds. So definitely more endurance. I feel like I was good in that department, honestly. I was always comfortable doing a full swing at 3 rounds. I was always ready for 3 rounds. My cardio has never been an issue in any of my fights. So we add some more stuff to improve on that and get us ready for a 25-minute fight. But other than that, I guess you can say it's the same thing.
Thank you. And Gerry, if you have, felt any differences in the camp getting ready for 25 minutes, anything like that?
Yeah. So I will say I don't think the difference of a 15-minute fight and a 25-minute fight, I don't think there's too much you have to change as far as like preparing your cardiovascular, because a lot of your aerobic glycolytic conditioning is based on kind of the skill of your sport. Like there's a thing called sport specific strength adaptation. And like kind of what that means is, you could be an MMA fighter, right? You could be world champion, but then you go run a marathon and you're like dying. And you'd be like, man, you're a world champion MMA fighter. Why can't you just run a marathon? Well, it's because it's a different sport, and your body has to adapt to that sport. And that's where the sport specific strength adaptation comes in. Also in MMA, you could be in very good shape, but you accumulate some damage, and that really can start to affect your cardio. As far as the championship fight is that I've changed, is the big thing is, as I've been fighting, the past year, I try to make improvements every time. And this time I used I did last time, but this time I used a dietitian again to go down to 145. And last time when I used them for 155, they were like, yeah, you made the 155 limit easy. And we actually thought like if I wanted to, I could have went to 150 based on what I did now, based on like what I did before. And so I used the dietitian because I actually did a real weight cut this time. And that was the biggest thing I did differently to prepare for the fight. And obviously I've been improving overall because I keep fighting, and people are like, you should take this more seriously and train more. And so I've been, training more and taking more guidance from like bigger known fighters like Slippery Pete and, Sean Lally, like guys that have been in the game for a while, and making improvements. But I also don't stress myself out too much and like feel the pressure of the fight, right? Like, because I know a lot of people, they try to do like literally every single thing perfect, and they try to like, they use the word I left no stone unturned for this fight. And I don't think that's true. And I think sometimes that puts like unnecessary pressure on yourself, because like if I go into the fight and I say I left no stone unturned, and I really feel like I did everything, and I ate like my duck eggs, and I ate organic chicken and I made sure I brought my lucky hand wraps, and I did everything right, and then you don't have the best performance, it kind of makes you feel like, oh shit, I did everything and I still didn't get the result. I like to use the term is you turn as many stones over as you can in the time that you have, and then after your performance you make adjustments. And I always like to tell people, how you win is just as important as winning. And that is a sentiment I really stick to, because I know a lot of people, like, I sometimes take risks in the fight to get something impressive off. And a lot of those wins have stood out because of that. And I can give you an example, right? Like a result nobody wanted, right? But like Jan, the 170-pound champ, he ended up winning the belt last fight, but he won it because there was accidental eye poke. And that's why I say, like, how you win is just as important as winning. And like, obviously he didn't want to win the belt that way, and Ali didn't want to lose the opportunity that way. And Combat FC didn't want that, but that was the result that ended up happening. So, that's what I would say about that.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. Wishing you the best the rest of camp, and best skill come fight night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Damian. Thank you, Gerry. I know you guys have been here a long time. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to come on here. Best of luck, healthy cut, healthy rest of the way on camp. I know you guys are both going to show out. Forward to it, and thanks for coming again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have our last guest of the evening, Firdavs Khasanov. Firdavs, how we doing, man? I know you've been waiting a long time here, man. How we doing?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Everything is well, man. So how we feeling through camp? You know, how's everything been going?
You heard me, brother?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Everything good. Uh, I feel great right now. Thank you so much. How are you guys?
Good. So you know, camp's been good. Talk to me about your sparring partners. Which of them have been the toughest to work with, and you know, who's pushing you the hardest?
For this camp, I have my teammate and Ben Cole and Firuz and Razavi is a couple fighters from my country in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and from USA, my friend and Ben Cole, for like training partner. And I want to say thank you so much for these guys, and I'm ready for the fight Friday night, and everything good.
So you know, you mentioned back home. How important is it, you know, to bring this victory back home? You know, for your family and friends.
You know, I'm here in a long time, almost 3 years. I never been back in my home, and I still training every day. I work hard every day. I have goal, I have dream, because I'm here for my legacy. I fight for my family, you know, and then I wanna take this title Friday night, and then I'm I wanna be more active this year, you know. I wanna be more fight this year, and I think after fight I still training, and I go to back in gym. I wanna train again, and then we'll see.
For sure. And you know, throughout this camp, any fighters you've been watching, been studying, been learning from, you know, any other pros, anybody in the combat sports world?
I'm sorry, say again, please.
Has there been any fighters, you know, in the combat sports world you've been watching and learning from, you know, such as like, you know, MMA, boxing, any guys in the UFC?
Yeah, of course. I have a friend. I have a friend in the UFC right now from Uzbekistan, Nursultan Ruzboyev, and I train with UFC fighters from Brady, Joe Pfeiffer, and Pat Sabatini. I work with these guys. You know, these guys help me in the practice time. I love my gym. We have a lot of fighters in UFC. Andrei Petrovsky, Joe Pfeiffer. All the go with these guys for the week. We train together all the time. Of course, I watch all UFC fight and all Combat FC I watch. I remember last time from my country, Big Zot Abdurrahmanov is fighting in Combat FC. This guy is my friend. He's Olympic, you know, in the wrestling. Yeah, I have a lot of friends. Like, I watch all the time, and I learn something, you know.
For sure. I mean, you named a ton of killers right there, you know. Definitely excited to see, you know, what you have in store next week. We're gonna open things up to the media here. We're gonna start things off with Cody Corletto. Cody, what do you got?
Firdavs, good to see you, man.
Good
you
to see you,
have a
brother.
you have a fairly large social media following, probably the biggest of any fighter on this card, and you have a huge Uzbek fan base. We know Uzbekistan is producing some of like great MMA talent, some of whom you train with. You mentioned Nursultan Rozaboyev. How valuable is it for you to surround yourself with the best fighters in the world, like you mentioned, Joe Pfeiffer, Andrei Petrosky, but also leading the way for fighters coming out of Uzbekistan?
Yes, of course. You know, in Uzbekistan, MMA is a new sport. Like, we are all the time. We fight in the hometown opponent, and we're training in Russia, in Germany, Thailand. Right now we come in USA. we meet with my coach Joe Marquez, and this is good gym, you know. And then like right now we're like family, and these guys help me all the time. Yes, in social media, like all Uzbekistan, like watch like my fight and Nursultan fight, you know. All Uzbekistan like wait more UFC fighters, of course, but you know, this all the people support the fighters, and I'm very happy for that, you know. And we have a big support in from Uzbekistan because not too much fighters and like big level.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of people wanna a lot of fighters and
Whenever any fighters fight on a big card, especially in the UFC or any promotion in general, you'll always see on Instagram Uzbeki fans just flooding the comments with Uzbek flags and support. You definitely have a whole country behind you, my friend, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you so
Friday.
much. Thank you so much.
All right, UFC Addict 401, you have the floor.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Firdavs, what do you know about Carlos Loyoza, and how does your style fare against his?
I know Carlos Loyoza like when I take this fight, and I watch him couple fight. Like, yeah, he's a good guy. He's a tough guy. He has I think jiu-jitsu. He has a wrestling. He can work in striker. You know, me too. I'm too, like, you know, I can do wrestler. I can do jiu-jitsu. Like, I think we're gonna show us a big fight in Friday night.
Yes, sir. And my second question is, could you share some insights of your mental preparation going into this fight?
Say again, I'm sorry.
Could you share some insights of your mental preparation going into this fight with Carlos?
You know, I train all the time in my life, you know. For me, just just fight, you know. And I go inside cage and cage close. My opponent, and I'm in. We do fight, like, you know. For me, just I like this sport, you know. I like in MMA. You know, like for me is just regular fighting for next level.
Yes, sir. And are you feeling any added pressure being that it's on UFC Fight Pass?
It's okay. You know, I've been a lot of country. Like, I think is for me not pressure like too much, and I think I'm very happy for that. You know, I wanna fight in big show like in Combat FC. I very appreciate for this opportunity, and I'm very happy for this card and for this fight.
Okay, Firdavs, that's all I had for you. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Sending it over to Summit Valley Sports. Hello?
Hello.
Summit Valley Sports, can you hear me? All right, I'll take this one then. Firdavs, talk to me. Do you have any extra motivation during this fight camp? Anything that's, you know, pushing you a little bit extra, you know, before this fight?
I have a big motivation right now because I fight for title. You know, for me, this big fight, UFC Fight Pass, and Combat FC, good promotion. you know, for me, this is big motivation. When called my manager, when he say about this fight, I'm very happy. I don't think about that. I say yes, let's go. We got, you know, and right now I have a big motivation. I'm very happy, brother.
And for sure. And you fought on the Massachusetts scene. Anywhere else in the States that you're looking to fight?
Before I fight in Miami, like Michigan, I never been in Massachusetts, in Boston.
Okay.
I go first time, and it's good, you know.
Yeah. And how's that process been? First time in Massachusetts. How's the process been with Joe, Rick, and the Combat FC team?
I think it's good, you know. I want to go in Massachusetts in combat. I want to see like Combat FC promotion. Like this is for me good opportunity. Like how I need to show what I can do. You know, it's good opportunity. I want to say thank you so much for Combat FC, and yeah, I'm very happy.
For sure. I'm thrilled to watch it. We're gonna try to send it back one more time to Summit Valley Sports. Harry, see if we can get him unmuted.
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlie. Sorry about that.
You're good.
For Dobbs, what are you expecting from your opponent, Carlos?
Yeah, he's good guy. Like he's tough. He has a jiu-jitsu there. Like I don't think my opponent, you know, about my opponent. I wanna go Friday night. I'm gonna show everything what I can do, and I know he's tough guy, and you know, he's good fight. He's good fight.
And another question.
He has.
Sorry about that.
Good.
Oh.
Ask me.
What's it like training with Joe Pyfer and Ruzaboyev and all them?
Yeah, I like these guys. You know, he's when I train with him, these guys have a lot of motivation, a lot of experience. You know, I learn and I see how's it training these guys, how it's doing. You know, and I'm very happy with these guys to like teammate, like family, and yeah. For me, good. You know, I'm just very happy for this teammate, like for these guys.
That's awesome. Good luck Friday.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. So Firdavs, they're casting right now for the Dana White Contender Series. Do you feel that a win here gets you there, or a win gets you towards that next step for a UFC contract or a PFL contract?
Right now I have focus for this fight, of course, and after this fight we'll see. You know, maybe doesn't matter. Maybe if called me Contender Series or UFC contract, yeah, I'm ready for a big fight and for next level. Doesn't matter. Like, you know, I come for here for fight for my legacy. I'm gonna do everything for this, and I'm ready for Contender Series or UFC, and with tough fighters, with good fighters, and I wanna fight. Like, of course, we'll see after fight
For
what
sure.
happens.
I believe it for sure. We're gonna call in Mr. President himself, Joe Cavallaro. Joe, you have the floor.
How's that? I did it. It took me a while to set that up just in case you called. But I just wanted to welcome you and tell you that we're really excited to have you. And I think this is going to be a good fight. I was looking at your record, and you were on a tear there. You know, you're right on the verge with that record. You know, a fight over a guy like Carlos, you know, a win over a guy like him puts you in a really good spot. You know, we were just talking about that, and one of the things that's been a common theme tonight is the gyms that guys are out of, you know, and the training partners that they have. And you're obviously from a top level gym. So, you know, more than anything, I just wanted to tell you that we're excited to have you and we appreciate you coming in. But how do you see this fight going? Like if is it a knockout? Or are you gonna what are you thinking? How do you win this fight? Is it I suppose you're ready for everything. You're ready for 5 rounds, but I mean, ideally, if you could see this go in the best case scenario, would it be a first round knockout? Would it be a submission? Is it what's your plan?
My plan is all around. I'm ready for all around, but of course, I like the Snackmal or something like that. But I'm ready for all around, and then we'll see. What happened. This is fight. When cage close, this is fight. Everything happened
You never know
all
what's
the
gonna
time.
happen.
Yeah. You never know like what happened in this. Yes.
Have you had a 5 round fight before?
No, it's the first time.
Yeah, but you get the rounds in the gym with the guys, right? I mean, you're in there constantly training, so it's not
Yeah.
it's not something new to you.
Yeah, with I do sparring like 5 round, 6 round. This I'm ready for 5 round, and because like 2 months I train hard, and yeah, we're ready like for 5 round.
We're excited to see you. We're glad to have you. I saw some of your pictures online. I was looking at the picture with you and Dana, and hopefully we see you there next. Dana's a great guy, so we're excited to have you. We're excited. It's too bad Carlos couldn't be on here tonight. I know something came up and he couldn't get on, but it was no sign of disrespect. He couldn't make the call, and it's going to be a good fight. We're looking forward to seeing you on Thursday for the weigh-ins and the fight on Friday. It's nice to have you.
Thank you.
All right, Firdavs Khasanov, man, this is it. I mean, this is the end of the media. I'll leave you with one last thing. Leave your opponent with one message, and one message to the fans who support you and watch every fight of yours. Leave them with one message before you step in there. What should they expect to see next weekend? This weekend, I should say.
This weekend, I want to say, guys, like, don't blink this fight. We show us a good fight in Friday night.
All right. Short and sweet, right to the point. I respect it. Love it, man. Excited.
I respect him. Yeah, I respect him. That's good. I want to say that's good luck.
For sure. No, yeah. Respect through battle, man. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate everybody's time. Been a hell of a night. Combat FC 7. Tune in. UFC Fight Pass. Gonna be one hell of a night. Thank you, guys.